And welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. This is PRI, and we're coming to you from Moe's Pizza on the West Bank, where they not only have the best pizza on the West Bank, but all kinds of Italian specialties, because Italians do it better here at Moe's. I'm the head coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, here with our Prep Recruiting Insider, the one, the only, the almost world famous Renee Nato. And we're here today with a St. Aug and LSU legend, Chad Jones. Chad, thank you for joining us here today on PRI.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on.
Chad, so much to talk to you about, won some national titles in baseball and football, but you know, so much of your life has changed after 2010 in the springtime. 19 leg surgeries, elbow surgery on your elbow from baseball. You had a couple of speed bumps, I guess, along the way. How is your life? How did that help form the way you are? And that's, you know, sometimes when trials and tribulations come up in your life, it kind of tests your metal a little bit.
Right, you know, I guess more so just for me coming up, you know, like I said, a lot of things came natural to me. I had a lot of God-given talent. I was fortunate to be, you know, up under my dad and up under my brother in a lot of ways, you know. So with that being said, my car wreck made me have to start all the way over, you know, as far as hard work, you know, and dedication, knowing what to put in on a daily basis. So I said, made me a better man, to be honest. You know, it got me closer to my family. A lot of things that my eyes weren't open to, you know, kind of slowed me down. So a lot of great things came out of my car wreck.
Because in athletics, the professional careers especially are not lifetime endeavors. There's always a second life after that. And every player has got to put up with disappointment in their career. Usually when a team tells you you're not good enough to play anymore, you got to move on with the rest of your life. But that decision ended up coming quickly to you, and just out of nowhere, as a matter of fact. You gave it your best shot. Talk about, and I'm going to refer to a video later about your rehab. Talk about mentally what you had to do to attack the second phase of your life, the recovery and the rehab, and now the third phase of your life.
Right. Well, like I said, adversity comes in all different kind of ways, shapes, forms, and fashions, you know, but you know, how you bounce back is always what makes the man out of you or the woman out of you, you know. But coming back from my surgeries and trying to give it another go within football, you know, and then not getting the type of, you know, reaction I was getting as far as getting accepted in, you know, of course first I hang my head down low, but you know, getting back up and having to start back over and looking at my family and looking at my son, you know, looking at still the great position I was in, you know, and still being healthy, you know, life after ball, you know, had to be a thing for me. So just sticking back to my roots, you know, going back to LSU, you know, I was fortunate, you know, to be back under Les Miles and getting back under there and having those guys being able to take care of you and be able to show you routes and point you in different directions, you know, that your eyes weren't open to as an athlete, you know. So definitely being very fortunate to staying in state and going to an in-state school and, you know, and having the family support, you know, and athletic support from friends and family, you know, to keep me motivated as far as to getting back on my feet life after ball.
You're one of two guys, Jared Mitchell and yourself, to have won a national championship in football as a true freshman and won a College World Series title in 2009 as a pitcher. Either one more gratifying or mean more than the other?
You know, I get this question. I don't get this question often, but it's weird to say. You know, baseball was my biggest college gratitude. You know, being on the field, of course, you know, in front of 100,000+ fans playing football, you know, and they're screaming and chanting your name is exclusive. But being on that pitcher's mound, you know, the game waits on you. You know, nothing can happen until you deliver that pitch, make your move. You know, so it's a very unique feeling being in the SEC championship and being on that College World Series. You know, and everybody's eyes on you. And then when success happens, you know, it's a different type of rejoicing. You know, it's a different type of overwhelming that comes over you. So baseball was definitely my best run in college.
And being a multi-sport athlete from your whole life, really. And there's so much emphasis now, wrongly so, on specializing. There's so much pressure, usually from the outside, on players who specialize in something. But you're a multi-sport athlete, not only at a great high school, but at major college level, national championship level. Talk about the benefits of being a multi-sport athlete and the challenges of doing that at the collegiate level.
You know, like I said, growing up, I just loved baseball and football. That was just my thing, and my dad promoted, and my parents and family and friends promoted for me to play both. So it was just normal for me to always do that, and I excelled in both through high school. Being #1 in our position in both sports, All-American out of high school in both sports, and doing the same thing on the college level. But it worked out to my advantage, just as I was playing for the New York Giants, and I got into my car wreck, and my leg was a little bit more messed up to get back on the field in the NFL as a defensive back. But thank goodness I had skills to be able to participate in another professional sport, which is baseball, and it required less strength or less stress on your leg. So I had a good run in baseball. But I would tell all kids, and all parents to let their kids, fulfill their dreams in both sports, and not to let them settle down or put stress on them to dive on it and on one sport. But let your options be wide and variable.
The last minute or so before we take a break, I want to ask you, I want to give you props. I know you threw a 91, 93 fastball, but you had a little pop in your back doing batting practice, College World Series, a 450-foot shot. Talk about, you didn't get as many reps in the plate than you deserved.
Right, I definitely, I've always saw myself as a hitter. A lot of people see me as a pitcher and know me as a pitcher, but I'm a hitter and an outfielder at heart. I think there's a unique story of how I became a pitcher more so. But when our left-handed specialist, went down and I filled in, and this was on a Wednesday at practice, and that Sunday I was throwing in the 9th inning against Auburn, up by 1 with bases loaded with no outs, so it worked out pretty good, but definitely being a pitcher now is great. It was great.
Okay, that's Chad Jones. We're going to take a short timeout right here and spend another segment with Chad. But go to YouTube, find the YouTube video, Always on Fire, about Chad Jones. We'll be back. And welcome back. This is PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider here at Moe's Pizza on the West Bank. I'm Rick Gailey, the head coach of PRI, along with Renee Nato, our Prep Recruiting Insider. And we're joined once again by Chad Jones of St. Augustine, LSU, and now moving on with the rest of his life. Chad, thank you so much for being here today.
Definitely glad to be here.
Chad, in 3 days, I know you're going to be in Tiger Stadium. Alabama week is like none other. What is it like, the week preparing for Alabama week, and what is it like on the field between the stripes for the Alabama game?
The full week of Alabama week, you feel it, walking to class, waking up that morning on Monday, you feel it as you're going to get lunch, you feel it, there's fans everywhere, they're always screaming your name when you're going to class from the other side of the room, when I was there, they used to scream out the who Chad Jones, so you feel that, going, walking to class, and definitely when you get in that office, when you get in that locker room, or get in those meetings, it's business, it's down to business, because there's history there, there's history there within the coach's locker room, there's history there, within the players' locker room, and for society, on ESPN, for everybody else, there's history there, so everybody takes it serious, everybody wants to do their best, everybody knows they're going to be on TV, everybody's going to be watching, so Alabama week is none other than bar one top week for LSU.
Is the week any different, or is any subtle differences whether the game is in Tuscaloosa or whether the game is in Baton Rouge?
Of course, everybody likes their home field advantage. I think this year, of course, we're at home, so it works better to our advantage. So I would say there's a more looseness, a loose feeling. When we traveled to Alabama when I was there, so we knew the tenseness there. Tommy Moffitt, was always keeping us motivated, keeping us focused on how it's going to be over there. You talk to your older guys and know how it's going to be, in these games. So I advise that to the older guys, to kind of preach to the younger guys on how to set the tone and how to feel at an Alabama game.
You're in an agency business now after playing football and baseball. Talk a little bit about what you're doing now.
Yeah, I was fortunate to fall in a position to be named the vice president of Premier Sports Council. It's a sports management group out of Beverly Hills, California, and I'm able to travel around and be able to recruit athletes, and be able to mold and groom them, to become NFL caliber guys, because it's a big transition from college to the NFL, because I know it from, you know, bar minimum, from me being on a professional standpoint in baseball and football, you know, and I know the ins and outs of what athletes go through and what the type of help that they don't have, you know, at a beginning level, you know. So we're trying to transform that and put that out there to young high school to college athletes, you know, that are able to make it to the NFL.
And you got to play in two of the more iconic venues in America, Tiger Stadium and Alex Box Stadium as well, and the College World Series in Omaha, and the national championship game in the Superdome. Right. That's a pretty strong venue. There. Talk about the difference between playing for a national championship in the Superdome and playing for a College World Series in Omaha.
You know, for a national championship in the Superdome, you know, to be LSU, you know, in New Orleans, in your home state, Louisiana, you know, my freshman year, it was just the best year of football that I could ask for. You know, coming into a program, you know, as a #1 athlete, and you know, I guess I felt that, you know, that the team that I needed to do more, I needed to be more, and show that I deserved to be on the field with those kind of guys. You had your big names, you know, your Glenn Dorsey, your Tyson Jacksons, you know, you had your Zenons at cornerback, you know, your Craig Stelts at safety, you know, you had these guys, you know, that you look forward to, you know, and playing on that national championship level in Superdome, you know, is one of a kind. But playing in baseball, you know, that College World Series in Omaha, you know, it's a very unique feeling. You know, like I said, I've been there only one time, you know, and it's a one-time feeling that I'll never forget. So it was just so much more unique, so much more rich of a feeling, you know, a long-lasting feeling with baseball, and just things that I won't forget in Omaha.
Now, you had to leave the city following Katrina, but you know, your roots are St. Augustine, and there's so much history at St. Augustine. 45 players have walked through that hall, have gone on to the NFL. 26 young men now are in college rosters. What does it tell you, the kind of success that St. Augustine has had?
You know, I think it's a pride level. You know, once you get to St. Aug, you know, they always talk about pride and talking about, you know, the ancestors of St. Aug, you know, playing for people that's been there before, you know, playing for the fans and playing, you know, not being selfish, you know. So that's what they teach, you know. That's more so what they talk about. It's called the St. Aug way, you know, as far as, you know, following tradition and being proud and making others proud of you, you know, because there's guys that are all around the country, all around the world, you know, that bleed purple and gold from St. Aug, you know, that are proud of these guys who are on the field. You know, you look at Leonard Fournette, you look at Tyrann Matthews, you know, those kind of guys that are already in the NFL and doing things and being progressive, you know. So it's a great feeling to be a part of the St. Aug tradition.
And I mentioned at the end of the last segment, the YouTube video, always a fire, showing what you went through in your recovery. Showing the accident in graphic detail, but also you being able to do some narration and explain what you had to do to try to rehab yourself. Talk about how that video came about.
You know, Always a Fire was a video that was sponsored and produced by General Electric. General Electric heard about my story and heard that I was making a huge comeback. Fortunate to be in the big New York media, you know. They heard about my story and reached out to me and actually came down to New Orleans and followed me around for about 3 weeks to a month, you know, to make sure, just to see how my daily life was as far as me training, you know, because I was doing 2-a-days, you know, 2-a-days and 3-a-days for over a year period of time, you know, trying to get myself back on the field. So I guess General Electric, you know, took heed to that, and they followed me around and video recorded me. And made this, you know, this wonderful video, Always a Fire, and we put it out there, and Yahoo Sports bought it, and they broadcast it to another level. You know, we had over 1 million hits, 1 million views in the first couple of days, you know. So, you know, the Chad Jones Always a Fire video is I say it as a very motivational speaking video. You know, it shows you what I went through, you know, and I guess you can relate it to yourself and your own story and how it should relate. But yeah, you know, I would advise everybody to check out the Chad Jones Always a Fire video.
It's excellent and highly, highly recommended. We looked at it again this morning. Can't tell you how inspirational it is. That's the great St. Augustine Purple Knight, Chad Jones. We've bracketed everything with Joneses today. His father Al earlier in the show, and now Chad here. Thank you for being with us today, Chad. We're going to be back to wrap things up here at Moe's Pizza on the West Bank. This is PRI.